This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I am Jay Cleveland Payne. And this morning, as I'm recording this live for you at 5:50 a.m. Central Time, I'm going to present for you yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture. This is your go-to supplemental source for both mainstream and unconventional news stories that you may have missed. A little added context in there. If you're looking at the teaser graphic at the video, you're seeing the young man who has been all the rage of literally a lot of rage lately. We'll talk about him right off the bat, but we have 8 stories total to talk about from yesterday's news that you vetted as conversational. You said these were stories to talk about, and we curated them to give you this newscast. We'll go into the curation process, how that works out in just a bit. Plus, we'll give you some fun stuff at the very end, so stick around for all the fun today stuff. You're going to love all that stuff, including birthdays. Yay, birthdays. Full information about what we do offering at the Conversation Project is at our website. This is theconversationproject.com. You can also email us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com for more details on things as well. Let's get into the headlines for this morning, which are technically yesterday's headlines. 8 of them vetted by you, created by me, Jay Cleveland Payne, for this day, which happens to be Thursday, November 30th, 2023. One more day until Christmas, or one more day till December, which means we are 26 days till Christmas, something like that. Let's get into the news stories right now, starting off with the story as promised, the one you've all been waiting about, the rage that's going on as a young Kansas City Chiefs fan is accused of racist blackface by a reporter. The original story, as today is now Thursday, is wafting through from a whole weekend's worth of stuff. But the young Kansas City Chief fan, was out there showing his love for his team by wearing an Indian headdress and having his face painted half black, half red in the colors of the Kansas City Chiefs. It's their traditional colors. And so what happened was, because it's TV and someone spotted him, he got a lot of love. He got a lot of pictures, a lot of talk on TV with the face paint was going on. Now, there are a whole lot of other issues with what was going on, but particularly here was the case of half his face being black and it being, I guess, the left half of his face, right half of his face. And so every time he turned to the side, it'd be all black face. And so one of the reporters from Deadspin decided to pull that up, take a picture screen grab from TV and say the Chiefs and NFL should blow this fan away, just basically tear him down. Now, there's a lot of issues with what was happening, and it was probably a very horrible idea in this case. But here's what was really sort of the underlying thing. You have to really know context and details. Now, you could not get this from watching the game on TV, but the young man is of Native American descent. In fact, his grandfather sits on the board of one of the local tribes in the area. And so he's got a right to wear a headdress. He's got a right to paint his face and has a right to do these things. Now, was it a right he should have actually went through? Probably not, because it caused a kerfuffle and caused a bunch of issues and back and forth. Whether the Deadspin article writer is going to get any backlash, we shall see. But we'll see what happens going forward, because it's all sorts of crazy. This is something that should not have happened, to the point that the mother should not have allowed the child to do this, because she should have thought about it for 10 seconds and known better. Hopefully we shall move on from this one. We're not moving on from Donald Trump, at least not quite yet, and we're going to get more from Donald Trump and the fall of the Republicans in the latter years from this thing. The headline we have is, Kevin McCarthy said Trump was depressed and not eating after January 6th, per Liz Cheney's new book. New book coming up for Liz Cheney, coming out next Tuesday, where she's going to take her former Republican colleagues to task for enabling and collaborating with the former president, essentially basically letting him get away with stuff and allowing him to do worse stuff when there's a time to actually take him down. The one anecdote from this is particular. It's a long kind of winding thing about Kevin McCarthy and his trip to Mar-a-Lago. He was apparently asked to go to Mar-a-Lago by people around the president because he was sad, he was depressed, he wasn't eating, things were feeling bad about losing the election, because it would seem like he actually understood he lost the election and was being sad and going through grief. So McCarthy went down there, he did a couple things and talked to him, whatever, then came back and did all these press conferences about how great Donald Trump was. Of course, he had just rebuked him a few days ago about the whole January 6th ordeal. And the whole thing went from there. This basically showcase was Kevin McCarthy's ability to basically tell people what they want to hear, and people believe it, even though they know all he does is tell people they want to hear. The book coming out next Tuesday has a lot of things in it that's revolve around Donald Trump specifically, January 6th as well, and things going on. Now, a lot of comments I got were the fact that Liz Cheney is a communist and should be prosecuted for January 6th. And we'll get some of that, and people can believe that going forward. But let's let the book come out, and let's actually have some people read it and not just get the excerpts from their certain sources and go from there. Let's see what she says. And of course, we can also bash her for trying to make money off whatever her truth is, not just telling us right out. Speaking of making money on the truth, Hunter Biden tells Congress he testified publicly, but the Republicans don't want that. They demand a closed-door session. This is getting really interesting. Years ago, the Republicans on the committee on the House that want to investigate Hunter Biden, technically investigate Joe Biden, said Hunter Biden needs to come before Congress and speak in front of us and tell us what's going on, because Hunter Biden has been a communist. He's been a guilty guy. He's been doing crimes, and he's ranking his father, Joe Biden, using him and things like that. I don't do impressions anymore, but I think that's a good of a random Congressman guy, old white dude who just likes to yell at folks. I think I pulled it off. Congress needs to see Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden needs to come see us. And Hunter Biden said, okay, I'll come. We'll do this. Let's do this publicly. And then it's like, Hunter Biden needs to talk to us behind closed doors. So because there's all sort of things around there, so we have to investigate other folks, and there's other people involved, and we got to talk to a whole list of other new people that just popped in our heads after Hunter Biden said he'd come and talk to us. Because that's basically what happened. Now that Hunter Biden's saying he'll come to Congress and testify, as long as it's open to the public, the people behind the testimony say they want to do it behind closed doors. That way, only the thing that's known about it is what they say and not what the people actually see. And they're also saying there's a whole list of other people that need to be investigated, need to be interviewed, so to have more dirt. Basically delaying the action and keeping it in private, because, sunlight is the best disinfectant, so let's not use any sunlight because we want to keep this thing as dirty as possible for as long as possible. Sometimes when you say the inside things out loud, people actually pay attention. Here's something that we need to be looking about, and we've talked about this in a case specific a few weeks ago, but AI image generators used by children to create indecent images is a story out by Business Insider. It's a new story, but it's not a new story in the fact that this is new. It's new in the way it's presented, and it's telling a very sad tale that's going along around with the technology going on. Now, AI may not actually, take over and the machines and run us out of our houses and kill us, but it's going to make us really, really bad people really fast. And we're seeing that a lot with children who are growing up in this realm where there's no actual moral consequence to learning it because it's there. There's no, what happened before, what did we do before this? There are children, and it's listed children, essentially teenagers, young people, who are using AI technology like image generators to make indecent images of all sites, i.e. they're making their own porn. There's that. And they're also doing things like deep fakes and putting classmates and friends' pictures, heads on the people and the bodies, which makes it even more worse and more creepier. This is an issue that's not going to go away as AI is going to evolve. This is an issue that's going to be more or less a moral issue, which is part of a problem, and a just sort of a morals issue, which may make it better. We just need to teach people to be better, do better, and have the wherewithal to know what they're doing and be adult about it. However, knowing children, they want to do as many adult things as possible and not let you know because that's what they do. So this is going to be something we'll keep an eye out for a while. So check that link out if you're not seeing this email, but see what they're doing to try to eliminate some of this and try to curb it before it becomes a true epidemic, as these things do. Very quickly, this one, top Ramaswamy aide leaves to join Trump campaign. The ships are starting to sink. The deck chairs are being moved around on the Simi ships, and it looks like Brian Swinson is expected to work for the Trump political campaign, who was one of the top Vivek Ramaswamy's aides, and he's going to Trump because Trump is winning and Ramaswamy is losing. Now, this may be a swerve where it may be a way to kind of bring in Ramaswamy into the fold, because essentially that's what people think he's looking for, but we shall see. We shall see what happens as this pulls forward. Great American Families Network's ratings plummet for premiere of Candace Bure's new holiday movie, My Christmas Hero. My wife watches like every single Christmas movie out there. We don't actually have Great American Families, so she can't actually be a part of this. So she might actually watch this. She is a fan of Fuller House and Candace Bure. However, because part of it is, I guess, the network has issues with finding it, and although people that found it didn't want to watch it, she's been in the news for some things she said. We're not going to let the things she said come out here, because if you don't know, You can go find out, and you probably don't care. But the former star of Full House and the current star of Fuller House is having issues in her new role, leaving Hallmark and leaving Lifetime, Hallmark or Lifetime, one of those two, and doing her Christmas stuff on the Great American Family Network because it's got great family value type programming and all that stuff. Essentially the no gay stuff. We'll see how this movie plays out according to whatever, but essentially a 0.03 in its key target demo, which sounds like a very low number, and it really, really is. X-users point out that it doesn't have a lot of viewers in general because the network has its issues on its own. Headline next, Shannon Doherty declares she isn't done with life as cancer has spread to her bones. The charmed actress is still battling her cancer, but it's now getting a deeper battle, literally, as it's now moved to her bones. She is staying as positive as possible with medical treatment, and she's saying it's all day by day, month by month, year by year. It's just a thing where you just have to kind of pray for her. You kind of keep an eye on her, and we'll see how this thing goes on. She's still fighting, so we're going to keep supporting her fight. We wrap this up with a person who is giving up his fights for good reason. Can't really win any of them anymore. Alex Murdaugh is sentenced to 27 years in prison for nearly 24 state financial crimes. He's already in prison and ain't going nowhere for, murder, those things like that. So when the financial crimes that were going on that seemed like were essentially what the murders were covering up or trying to hide for a while actually came to trial, Murdock showed up for trial, sentenced to 27 years as pleading guilty to almost 24 state financial crimes. Earlier this month, he pleaded to 2 counts of first-degree murder, given 27 years in prison for that. He has to serve 85% of that one going forward, so he's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's a really sad story of a guy who was essentially a lawyer royalty. I mean, he was a legal royalty in the state that he was, and then he just started doing bad business deals, trying to turn into hide bad business deals, and then the whole murder of his family thing, which is a whole nother level of just insanity and badness on its own. We pray for all those around. I hope the people that had suffered from financially will get something back as retribution, other than just having Murdock sit in jail for longer, because that doesn't get anybody else paid. In our errors, apologies, and omissions section, we are not talking about this one story yet. We're going to do it quickly. Users of diabetic drug Mounjaro lost more weight than those on Ozempic, and it's simple that. So people who are using these drugs for actually the weight loss, or actually the actual use for managing your A1C and diabetes, are finding that Mounjaro is actually more effective in the weight loss part than Ozempic. They're both way too expensive. That's what the real issue is. So people who really need this for diabetes, I can't really grab it. People who can pay the extra for the weight loss will pay the extra for the weight loss, making it hard to get to and raising the prices, because that's capitalism. But for those who care, those who matter, Mounjaro is helping lose more weight than Ozempic. So if you're going to go buy one of those, go for the Mounjaro, definitely. In our teaser story for the day, this is a news story that we could talk about tomorrow that is interesting, and you have to tell me it's interesting enough to be in the top 15 stories that are engaged in tomorrow. If it is, I'll try to pull it for the top 8 stories we'll present for you today, or tomorrow, I should say. The headline for this one, and this is the headline of the better picture, I should say. Musk uses expletives to tell audience he doesn't care about advertisers that fled X over hate speech. And the headline we have and the story we have is essentially the same thing, big details. The best picture was on this one right here. Elon Musk went on a very, well, I'll say very, it was a pretty short tirade. He went on a tirade, dropped some F-bombs, and said that the advertisers can go F themselves because they're going to ruin Twitter, because they're moving away from the platform that's going on. Now, the fact that Twitter has been a dumpster fire since he bought it is a whole other issue he's not really, willing to admit yet. But check out the story, read the details, go into all the news coverage for the day, and let me know if this is one we're going to go deeper into tomorrow. Just go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/this is a conversation project, and Twitter.com, or X.com, because that's what he calls it, th_conversation, and let us know if this is good enough. If it's one of the top 15 stories for tomorrow, we will probably pull it in the top 8 we will talk about, just like that. See how simple that is? You engage in any story on our feeds, any stories we have. Every 50 minutes, all day long, we have stories. So like a story you like, and we'll try to get it in there tomorrow. In the meantime, let's go to our sponsor we're going to highlight this morning. That is Fundrise. Fundrise is a great new way to get into investment. We talk about Robinhood, which is one of our sponsors as well. Fundrise allows you to join in various different funds to raise money. It started off with its life a year and a half ago or so as a way to get into real estate funds. It brought people into real estate when the market was kind of antsy, and it did a good job because I didn't lose any money my first year in my real estate market there. I could put money in the funds and I had to go build buildings and renovate and hang out with the property brothers and things like that. They've expanded to other funds and other things, and you can get into all the different types of investments using Fundrise. It's as easy as pulling out your phone and checking things out. Go to the website. This is theconversationproject.com/Fundrise. That's our website and our link for the affiliates. We get a slight cutback commission for you joining Fundrise, and get in today. You can get bonus shares by joining right now. So check it out at this. It's theconversationproject.com/Fundrise, and check out their expanded version where they allow you to basically make funds on demands, make buys on demands, and go deeper in detail in what you can do. Fundrise is a great way to expand your portfolio, and check it out. I agree. I am a subscriber. I am a user. I pay them every single month a little bit into my portfolio, and it's doing fairly well. Check it out at this. It's theconversationproject.com/Fundrise. This. It's theconversationproject.com/Fundrise. The Conversation Project lives online at this. Is theconversationproject.com. Check out our website and see all the details about what we do for y'alls and what we do for ourselves every single day. We give you great chances to get into conversational news stories by the feeds, and of course in the products we produce, the videos, the audios, and newsletters. So check them out. They're all aligned. And if you want to help us do better in the better stuff, which is what's going on, simple. Number one, make sure you're following the feed so we have better engagement. The higher engagement we have, we know what more people want to talk about, the better stories we pull for the mornings and for the weekend shows. Make sure you email me at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Email me so I know what we can do to improve on the show and the content as well. And if you want to really get deep in detail and what to improve, how to work things out, stop by our partnerships page at our website and see if there's a way that you might want to help us be a partner and work out. Direct access to what we do is through that. And plus, we're going to have some freebies, some gifts. Working on coffee. I've had a conversational blend of coffee that I had before. I've actually went into the lab and blended it myself. I took it and stirred it and chopped it and all that stuff. I've got conversation blend coffee and some other things coming for the folks who want to partner up. So check it out today, as I like to say sometimes. Now let's get into the fun stuff to wrap up for this Thursday morning. Fun stuff for today starts with birthdays. Actually, fun stuff for every day starts with birthdays. And on this November the 30th, no different. People who could not escape November, could not get there close enough to December. Birthdays start off today. We have Kaley Cuoco, who's 38 years old. And this is one of my wife's favorite actresses. She's watched her in various different things. And basically, every time she pops up, she follows along to see what's going on. She hasn't watched her in the thing where she's a flight attendant because it's on one of the services that we don't have. Although we have like all 25 of them, the 26th or 27th one, we don't have that one. So that's the one we haven't had, and she's bugged me about it, but she won't give up one of the other ones, so she can't watch it. Meanwhile, she watches everything else she's on and rewatches everything else she's on, so ad nauseum. I guess I have a thing about rewatching things. But Kaley Cuoco, happy birthday today, 38 years old today, and love you, Christina, with the K. Meanwhile, on this day in 1982, this is a big part of my history, my life, if you will. Thriller, Michael Jackson's 6th studio album, was released. 7 songs from the album would land in the top 10. This was the very first album that I actually owned, being a second grader at the time with Thriller. My dad let me get that. However, I had to share it with my sister, which was not exactly a grand experience. And, of course, she was like 4. So, well, she wasn't like 4. She was like... Yeah, she was like 4. So it was one of those things where it just, started a sibling rivalry, things like that. But the first studio album, the actual album I owned, was Thriller, actual record, back released on this day in 82. Sure, it took me a while to get it because I had it raised to save the money, but I could actually own the first album. This first album I actually owned. Today, we're going to celebrate Personal Space Day. Personal Space Day is an interesting one to talk about. This day was created to recognize and appreciate the need for personal space in our lives and relationships. It's a great opportunity for us all to take some time of our busy schedules, reflect on what we need, and honor those boundaries. Whether it's physical or emotional, personal space is an important part of healthy living and can benefit everyone involved. If you are a person who enjoys your personal space, then this is a time to make sure that you are taking care of that personal space. Like literally, take care of your personal space, take care of your mind, your health, and your physical space. If you're a person who tends to invade people's personal space, this is a day for you to realize you might be doing that and do more to not do that. And if you're a person that having issues with relationship boundaries as well, this is a great time to muster up the courage to have that conversation and work on personal space and boundaries, because enough personal space, enough boundaries will help you fix a whole lot of things. In the meantime, no need for personal space, no need for boundaries. I'm just going to go away and come back tomorrow. How about that? This has been Things You Might Have Heard for Thursday, November 30th, 2023. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne, and I want to thank you so much for being a part of everything we've done. If you popped in live today while I record this, thank you so much. If you were not live, give me a comment in wherever you find this. Send me a comment and we'll tell me where you are, what you're doing, what's going on, and we can talk about that as well. Email me at theconversationinbox@gmail.com so we can have those discussions. Follow the feed so we know what to talk about tomorrow. And consider being a partner. Make sure you're staying limber, staying hydrated, and staying on task for all the grand things you are meant to do on this here planet. With that, I'm going to bid you adieu. We have one more edition of this for Friday, and then, of course, the weekend shows where we give you the pure, unadulterated, what you said by the numbers, top 10, not me curating them. So if you want to put a story in, you've got a full day to punch it in there for the weekend. Let's do this. We'll see you guys come Friday.